welcome to Cindy's Library. This is Cindy. Today I'm going to talk about my first week of Victober. So, first of all, I have a confession to make. I was already about halfway through The Woman in White on audio by Wilkie when uh, before Victober started. And I continued that the first work day of Victober, and I gave up the audio and managed to read the second half straight in 3 days. Talk about a page turner. So, The Woman in White is a suspense novel, and it certainly has plenty of that to draw you on. We start with Walter Hartright. Um, he is the first narrator. This is almost epistolary. Um, starts, and I guess I can say it also ends with Walter Hartright's own later reflections, maybe 5 years down the road from when this starts or something like that. And then we get journal entries from someone else and reports from other people that have been requested regarding about what happened. So it's not quite, but it's almost epistolary in a way, and it's all first person. And we start with Walter Hartright. He is a young artist, shows some promise, but you know how living as an artist can be. It wasn't that different back then. So he had been engaged to go to this manor house and teach two young ladies who lived there. And so he's on his way there and he encounters a woman dressed in white, hence the name of the whole book. And she begs him really for help. He does help her. A few minutes later, some more people come along and ask about her. We come to find out, along with Walter, that this woman escaped from an asylum. So that is very, very interesting. We get to the manor house where we find the two young ladies. They are cousins. Laura is part of the main family, and Miriam, I suspect, if she's part of the main family, she is from a daughter or sister and not a son, like how Laura is. But anyway, they're cousins. They've basically grown up together and are as close as sisters. And the remarkable thing is how much Laura looks like the woman in white. Now, there are enough differences that Walter can see that this is clearly someone different, but still, the similarity is so striking. And so, we get a bit of a love story between Walter and Laura, who's beautiful, and Miriam is clever, and of course there are complications, and into this policy, Walter's intrigued by this woman in white and ends up seeing her again, and so he's trying to find out what the mystery about her is all about. And things go on very much from there. This is, I think, my second Wilkie Collins. already read The Moonstone. That was long enough ago, I'm not sure which one I like better, but it would be pretty hard to beat The Woman in White, I can tell you. I was completely enthralled throughout the whole second half. The first half is basically getting to know the main characters and the situations and setting things in place. And then once the dominoes start turning over, oh boy. Oh, so glad I read The Woman in White. So that one is completely done. Next is the group read, The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope. I've been listening to this and I'm exactly on track, 1/4 of the way through. My job each day for Victober is to listen to 5 chapters of The Way We Live Now before anything else. It's kind of hard to describe. There are a lot of different characters. We have a contrast between London city life and life in the country. We also have lots of economics in this one. Not just young men who need money, some with better purposes, some with less better purposes. Some are more ethical about how they are trying to get it, some less ethical perhaps. But there's also this railway company that some of the characters at least are involved with, a railway stock company earning money to build this railway from Salt Lake City down to Mexico City, I believe. And so, and of course, there are plenty of potential love stories going on, although, of course, at the moment, it's very snarled and doubtful who will end up with whom at this point. And part of the young men needing money is also a part of that story, although not all of them are. Some of them are true romances. So, and one of the major figures is August Melmont. He seems to be a foreigner. No one's quite sure where he came from. He's extremely wealthy, but no one's quite sure how he got his money. Pretty sure it wasn't inherited, so whether it was all on the up and up or not is a big question at this point. And a lot of the other characters seem to be connected to him. So that is where we are in The Way We Live Now at the moment. And then, not quite a third of the way through, Hester by Margaret Oliphant, which has been very interesting so far. So, at the very beginning, we are told about the Vernon family. Grandfather Vernon, I guess we'll call him that. Yeah, Grandfather Vernon. He was a banking magnate, very, very successful. And his son wasn't brilliant, but was smart enough to at least hold on to what the family had. The grandson, not so much. In fact, the bank would have failed if his cousin, Catherine Vernon, had not stepped in with her own independent fortune and her own will and brains and took over to manage the situation. That was a good 30 years ago. So, and all of this is in basically within the first 2 or 3 chapters. Then we go about 30 years from that time, and Miss John, the widow of the grandson, who has been living in exile ever since, self-imposed, um, on the continent. Her husband has died, and so she returns with her daughter Hester to this town where this family and this bank all are, because Catherine has offered a place for them to stay that is reasonably comfortable. And of course, Miss John does not have many resources of her own, so she feels like she has to. Now, Hester, she is about as strong, no, she is as strong-minded and independent as Cousin Catherine, as she calls her. But at this point, the two do not get along at all. I'm not sure. Well, to be fair, Cousin Catherine has allowed herself to get into some bad habits of cynicism and laughing internally at how ridiculous everyone else is, which of course infuriates Hester. Hester, for her side, is still young and has a lot to learn, and other two personalities are a bit too close for comfort, shall we say. We have got Hester settled, and it's about 10, or not 10, 5 years later, so she is now 19. There are a few young men in the picture, although at the moment don't know what, if anything, is going to happen because Hester is not very interested in that, and or at least not. No, she doesn't show much interest in that at this point. Certainly not the main choice she has been offered thus far. So we will have to see what happens. Will Hester and Cousin Catherine ever be reconciled? Will Hester ever find a place for herself in the world? Because that's what she really wants. She wants something to do. She wants to be useful. And she doesn't feel that way very much right now. So, that is my first week of Victober. Are you participating in Victober? If so, how's it going for you so far? What are you reading? Love to hear all about it. Thank you so much for stopping by. Truly do appreciate it. So until next time, I hope we all stay safe and healthy, and as always, happy reading.